friends, it's Kim at Foggy Bonnet, and I have a little last minute Valentine gift box for you today. A little project that's easy to put together, and I want to show you what it looks like. These are two that I made in two different colors, and these are sized to fit the Lindor chocolates. They're made by Lindt, and you can find these everywhere right now. So anyway, two of these chocolates fit inside one of these little boxes. They're matchbox style boxes. They slide apart. There's a band around. And so I needed to make a couple of more. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to make a video of this and show you how I put these together. Select a solid cardstock for your box and cut it to 4 1/8 by 5 1/8. For the band, choose a designer series paper. The band wraps around the box. Cut the band to 2 3/8 by 6 inches. 2 3/8 by 6 inches. And then you just need a little scrap of Whisper White for your sentiment and something to tie your box with. So some decorative ribbon. So let's get started with the scoring. Now normally I score with the scoring tool, the Simply Scored scoring tool, but because I have a 1/16 of an inch dimension in this project, I'm going to use my paper trimmer to do my scoring, because the paper trimmer has 1/16 inch measurements on it, and I'm going to need those. So we're going to score the cardstock, the solid cardstock. Again, this is cut to 4 1/8 by 5 1/8. And we're going to score this along the long side first. We're going to have the long side up here, and we're going to score it at 1 3/8 first. And your gray, your light gray is your scoring tool on this. Your dark gray is the cutting tool. So make sure you have your scoring blade. 1 3/8, and then also at 3 3/4. So 3, oops, and you can't see either. Maybe if I do that, it'll help both of us. 3 3/4. So that's all the scoring we're going to do on that long edge. Now we're going to turn it so the short edge is up at the top, and on the short side we're going to score at 1 3/8. 1 3/8, and 2 3/4, 2 3/4, and then we're going to come back over and we're going to come in 7/8 of an inch. Make sure I'm right here, 7/8 of an inch, and we're only going to score down to the first horizontal score line. And this scoring with the trimmer is helpful here because you can see through that and you can see how far down you're coming with your score line. So I've only scored down, don't know if you can see that, I've only scored down to that first horizontal score line. Not sure how well that's showing up. So then we're going to move over and we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to do that partial score at the 3 1/4 mark. So 3 1/4, I'm lining up this edge, and I'm only going to score down to that first horizontal score line. And then we're going to rotate this 180 degrees and do the same thing on the other end. Come in 7/8. And just score down to that first line, and then 3 1/4, and just down to that first score line. Okay, so that's all the scoring on the box part of it. Now we want to score the band, and the band will be scored at 1 7/16. Here's where the 16ths come in. So 1 7/16, that's 1/16 shy of 1.5. Then at 2 7/8, 2 7/8, and then 4 5/16, that's 1/16 more than a quarter, so 4 5/16. And then finally at 5 3/4, 5 3/4. Okay, so that's all our scoring. I'll get this out of the way. So next we want to just crease and burnish on all the score lines that go all the way across the cardstock, not on the short ones, but on the ones that go all the way across. So let's see here. So there's only 4. This really is a very simple box to put together. I made several of these the other night, but I find that I need a few more. So I thought I'd make this video in case you need a last-minute Valentine handout. Then we're going to score the band also. The score lines are a little tougher to see on this paper. There we go. It's more like I'm feeling them than seeing them. Okay, so we'll set that aside. Next we're going to do a little bit of cutting. So we want to orient the cardstock so that those 2 short score lines are on the right and the left, facing horizontal. So this will be in landscape format, 5 1/8 across. And then we're going to come in and we're just going to cut straight up on the long score line up to the first horizontal score line. We're going to cut up just like that on both sides. Then we're going to fold this piece, this middle piece, out of the way, and we're going to trim off these 2 flaps on that short score line. So I'm just going to trim off on both of these, just like that. And I'm going to turn this around 180 degrees and do the same thing on the other side. So the 2 short score lines are going right and left. I'm going to come in on the first long score line, cut straight up to the first horizontal score line, and repeat on the other side like that. Then I'm going to get this out of the way, and I'm going to trim these off at that short score line, just like that. Then I want to come in and just angle these little tabs. This is going to help when we assemble our box, just coming in at an angle. And it helps if you fold this big flap out of the way. There we go, and one more. Okay, all done. I forgot to tape my paper down, so I keep adjusting it. So the next thing we want to do is just fold up these ends and wrap those tabs around on the outside. And the reason I'm putting them on the outside is it just gives your box, your finished box, a little neater appearance. You don't see the ends of the cardstock that way. So I'm going to use liquid adhesive. You could certainly use tear and tape here, but I'm just going to use a little bit of liquid adhesive. And I'll put it on both tabs at once here. Just bring this up so it's solidly against the sides. Just hold those tabs for a second. Let them adhere. And then we'll do the other side. Oops. That's one nice thing about tear and tape, I will say. It sticks immediately. Whereas with the liquid glue, you do have to hold it for a beat or two just to make sure you get good adhesion, especially if you're a little heavy-handed with the glue, as I tend to be sometimes. Okay, so we'll set that aside for a second and we'll work on the band. So I like to have the bigger flap on the left and the smaller flap on the right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply adhesive just on this smaller flap, and then I'm going to bring in the left flap and the right flap, the bigger, it's actually on the second score line on the right, like this, and just lay it flat to adhere it. So I'm just going to put a little glue on this short flap. Straighten it out a little bit, and then fold it on the second score line, and then bring the left side in on the first score line on the left, and it just overlaps perfectly. And just let it make good adhesion. And there's your band. So we'll set that one aside also for just a second. And let's make our sentiment. So I'm using, get a nicer piece of whisper white. I'm using, well, I wasn't decided yet. I don't know whether to put You're All Heart on this one or Sweet Friend. I think I'm going to put Sweet Friend. And it's from the Oval Occasions stamp set. This is available in the January through June mini catalog, and it comes bundled with oval punches. So I'm going to use the Sweet Friend. Here it is. And I'm going to stamp with Poppy Parade because I believe that's a color in my designer series paper. So there's my stamp, and I'm going to cut this out with a, I lost the lid to my glue. Uh-oh. I'm going to cut this out with a punch, the classic label punch. There I go, moving this. I need to remember to tape my paper down. So I'm going to cut this out, just kind of centering it, maybe off to the right a little bit. There we go. And while I have the punch over here, I'm going to cut a piece of this Poppy Parade Designer Series paper. This is the new Designer Series paper with the new patterns. I love this plaid. But it's available as in your starter kit. If you sign up, if you join my team during celebration, you get 5 packs of this new Designer Series paper and the new patterns in the 5 color families: the brights, the neutrals, the regals, and the subtles, plus the 21 in colors, or is it the, yeah, 2022 in colors. So that's a lot of paper, and it's included in addition to all the other product. It's free with your starter kit. So that's a pretty good deal right now. So cut that. And we'll set this aside for now. I'm not quite sure how that will go on, but so I think my boxes are dry now. So I'm going to put my 2 candies in. And I find that if I kind of scrunch down the cellophane a little bit and put angle one into one corner and the cellophane on the other into another corner, like that. And then this part just slides on, and I like to put that little seam on the bottom. So it just slides on like that. There we go. Isn't that cute? Love these. And then, oh, here's my lid. Okay, so what I want to do next is I actually want to tie this with my ribbon. Not sure what color. I think I'm going to use the white. It's always a safe bet. And I'm just going to tie a bow. And I'm going to tie it around this way on the box. That will keep it from sliding. These fit nicely. I mean, it's doubtful that they would slide open, but I just like tying them that way. I think that makes a nice presentation. That's pretty good. Okay, so next I'm going to put on, I already have this little bird made, and this little bird is from the Lots of Heart bundle. This is in the January through June mini catalog, and it has some wonderful die cuts, including this little 2-piece bird. I just love this. The 2 pieces give you a little bit of dimension and texture on the bird. Very pretty. And this little heart, I believe, came from, let me make sure. Yes, this little heart is in here too. So nice little pieces in that set. The Lots of Heart bundle. But right now I've got this bird and I've got my sentiments, and I need to figure out how I'm going to put these on. So I'm just going to glue these together. Oops, don't want to flip that over. I'm going to glue them together at a slight angle. So I popped the sentiment up on mini dimensionals, and I attached the small blue bird to the left side. And I forgot to remove one of the backings there. And I'm just placing the sentiment so that it straddles the ribbon. And then I decided I really didn't want it this way, and I pulled it off and flipped it around the other way. There we go. I like that better. And I'm just going to trim these off. Okay, cute. So this is something that you can make with just a piece of cardstock. You can get at least 2 of these out of one 8.5 by 11 cardstock sheet. And of course the band hardly takes any paper at all. So with a little bit of coordinating cardstock and designer series paper, a little bit of ribbon and a sentiment, and you're all set to make these adorable little Lindor chocolate holders.